Mini skirt on, dip my body in glitter. Platform sneakers, all the boys want a picture. Two foreign cars, I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya. Mini skirt on, dip my body.
Hello. You are now tuned in to the A Little Bit A Lot podcast. I'm your host, Kristen, and welcome back to another episode. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I just want to start off by apologizing for missing my episode last week. If you subscribe to my channel on YouTube or follow me on Instagram and TikTok at A Little Bit A Lot podcast, then you'll see that I did not have an episode last week because it was a crazy, stressful week. My mom was scheduled to have like bilateral foot surgery, and it was supposed to be like a simple moment where they were supposed to be taking like an implant out of one foot that she had got put in. Right? She got it put in years ago, but then had to get it taken out because it wasn't like helping anymore. And then on the other foot, she had to get like something else fixed, and she was supposed to be able to go home like that same day. But she ended up aspirating, and she ended up getting pulmonary edema, and she had fluid in her lungs. She was coughing up blood, and it was a little spooky. And she ended up having to go to the ICU because she literally could not breathe. And she ended up having to get like special oxygen that they only have like in the ICU, and ended up being hospitalized for like 6 days. So it was a whole thing, but she's home now, she's recovering, and she's feeling good. So I was like, I just did not like have time to film during all of that, but everything's Gucci now. So yeah, thank you so much for your patience on that. If there's any issues, with episodes, or if I'm not able to upload or anything like that, then you guys can always, see a post on the community tab on my, podcast, YouTube channel. And like I said, or there'll be updates on like Instagram or TikTok. So be sure to follow those so that way you don't miss, anything that's going on. But I'm back and I'm ready to get into the gags, guys. This week has been a lot better. I've been playing Fortnite. And if you guys, saw that post, and you saw that I ended up streaming instead of uploading the episode, because I'm like, that's a lot easier. And now I'm like entering my streaming era. I've been contemplating like streaming for almost a year now, and I'm like, F it, we ball, like I should just do it, like why not try it out? And I've really been enjoying it. I play Fortnite on my Nintendo Switch. I know a lot of people, have opinions on that, and me included. I can't wait until I get a new console, because the Switch 2 I've been seeing is a lot faster when it comes to Fortnite. Sometimes, I land and my stuff isn't loaded yet and people are already looting, and I'm like, I can't see anything because the Switch 1 on Fortnite is just so laggy. But we make it do what it do. So I finally got all the stuff that I needed. And even when it came to streaming, I was literally going through the gags with setting up my streaming setup, because I was watching multiple different YouTube videos, and people were saying if you want to stream your Nintendo Switch to, Twitch, or in my case, I stream on TikTok Live or any streaming platform, then you need this, and this. So I got all the things I needed. Turns out one of the things I bought I didn't even need. So I had spent all day trying to figure out how to work it, just to ask ChatGPT, like, why isn't this working? And they were like, oh, you actually don't need that one thing. So I got to return that. And it was like a whole thing. And then once I finished setting it up, then I couldn't figure out like my microphone situation. And then that was like very difficult. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like everybody online is saying like it's easy as peasy, set up your setup in 30 minutes. But it took me literally like 2 days, like 48 hours to figure out everything. Like, are you kidding me right now? So I just automatically had like so much more respect just off rip for streamers, because there are so many cables and cords that are like set up to help me stream from like my new monitor that I bought, plus my laptop, then the Switch. It's got to be on the dock. It's a whole thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But so far the streaming has been going well. I have been streaming on my podcast account on TikTok at A Little Bit A Lot podcast. So follow that, turn the post notifications on if that's even a thing over there, so that way you don't miss a stream. So I will be streaming on that account, and then any of my like gaming clips will be posted on my TikTok account called Gaming with Kristen. So be sure to follow that so that way you can see like any of my highlights and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just been really fun. And I also finally like found a girl squad to game with, because my boyfriend has like his squads that he's been playing with, and I'm just like, I want a girly gang, like I want to play with the girlies. Like playing with my boyfriend is like fun, don't get me wrong, but it's just something about like playing with the girlies that seems, a lot more interesting, to be able to have like some variety. And I was playing, and this girl ended up like sending me a friend request because we had like got a couple victories in our squad together. And then next thing you know, like she randomly sent me an invite to play the Blitz Royale with her, and she added her two friends. So it was four of us, and we were a squad. We went in, we played Blitz, we got a couple wins. Battle Royale, I think we ended up getting a win, and it was just like so nice. Like I just never knew how much fun it was going to be to like play the game with the girlies. And I ended up having like my Wednesday Addams skin that I was using and playing around with. And they were like, oh, we love the Wednesday skin. So then they put the Wednesday skin on. So like it was just 4 Wednesdays like running around. And it was just so cute. And I'm like, you know what? This is what girlhood's about. This is what community's about. Like, two of the girls were like moms. And I'm just like, okay, period. Like, we stand a girly gamer, a mom gamer. Like, it was just so nice, so wholesome. So I'm always looking for like girlies, gays, theys to play with, on Fortnite. So if you guys want to play, then like be sure to, add me. I think my username is like KMarie15 or something like that. I'll be sure to like put it in the description. Like, if you guys want to play, like that's fun. And I also don't plan to just like only stream Fortnite. I have so many different games on my Switch. I play what's it, Good Pizza, Great Pizza. I play Mario, I play Mario Kart, I play Animal Crossing. There's just so many different games that I plan on streaming. I even do like, Sims 4. So that's like a whole thing. So I'm just really excited to get started on that. But yeah, so be sure to tune into those. But before we get further into the episode, I just want to say, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We are so close to my first 1K. I'm at like 8 something subscribers. So everybody that already is subscribed, I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed, because like 90% of my viewers don't subscribe, I see you. I see you. Yeah, you right there. Okay, if you're watching this, go ahead and click the subscribe button right now. Why not? Subscribe to the channel so that way you're not missing out on any of the updates, any of the gags and the kikis that we talk about, pop culture, mental health, music, movies, TV, like you name it, we talk about it, okay, period. So get into it, yeah, no Doja Cat, subscribe, turn your post notifications on so that way we can grow this loving community. And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, rate that 5 stars, leave a review so that way you can keep up with the show. But I kind of wanted to talk about a couple things that like have been on my timeline. I feel like the past couple of weeks of my show have just been like, hey, here's some things that I've been seeing online that I want to talk about, because I just feel like it's just been some like crazy things going on, and I'm just like, why not talk about it? Because some of these things are just so strange. But like one thing that I've been seeing a lot of my timeline is people talking about the new Target policy. Target has rolled out a new policy, and it's called the new Smile and Wave policy. And I just thought that this was so funny to me. So just to give you a little context, like I said, Target is in the news again because they rolled out the new Smile policy, and it's a 10-4 rule. So it basically says that if an employee is within 10 feet of a customer, then they have to smile, make eye contact, wave, and like act super friendly. And then if someone gets within 4 feet of the employee, then they have to personally greet them. They have to smile again and then give a extra warm like customer service moment. So I feel like Target is kind of framing this policy as a fix for their sales dropping, right? Like we know Target has not been doing the best as a company recently. But here's the thing, the sales obviously did not drop because employees were rude. That's never been like an issue with Target. They dropped because earlier this year, we all know Target decided to end a bunch of its DEI programs. And that's been a big part of why people have not been shopping there and why their sales have dropped. So, in case you didn't know, the DEI programs included a REACH initiative, which pledged over $2 billion to Black owned businesses and carried more than 500 Black owned brands. So during the time, I'm like, okay, like get into it. Yeah, shout out to Target for supporting the Black, business owners. And then the program also included hiring and promotion goals for women and people of color plus LGBTQ plus employees. And they were working on supporting programs for Black entrepreneurs and having scholarships for HBCU students and more. So once they decided to end these initiatives for whatever reason, I really don't freaking know, that's when Target basically was like essentially telling a big chunk of their customers, especially, Black shoppers, that they're no longer a priority. So now instead of like, addressing that, they're telling employees to just smile more. And I'm like, right. So I feel like the problem with Target is like pretty much obvious. Like this is putting emotional labor on your employees and it forces them to project happiness that they might not feel. And I feel like it gives certain customers a reason to complain if they feel like someone isn't smiling enough. So I feel like that's kind of just like opening the gates for like more Karens to like start being even more annoying at Target than they already are. So I'm just like, okay, right. And I feel like there's also like history of Black employees being forced to smile, through microaggressions or racism. So I feel like this policy is just one that hits harder than like what it sounds. So long story short, Target's trying to fix, a real trust problem with a smile, and that's just not going to cut it, right? Like that's not going to cut it, babes. Personally, I have not been partaking, in going to Target, since they rolled back their DEI programs because like what? There were plenty of Black owned businesses that I personally shopped at Target. I remember there's this Black owned business where they make like kitchen appliances and I bought a waffle maker from them like in Target and they had some sales going on. And then there's a lot of like Black owned businesses that have like hair products that I was using that was like in Target. So it's just really strange that they like rolled that back and they've just been kind of like trying to backtrack on, like I said, their LGBT, inclusivity. Recently the last Pride, there's a lot of issues with a lot of their like Pride displays. So then they tried to like take those away because customers were complaining. It's like, okay, you can't just say you're going to stand with the gays and then be like, take it back. And you're going to stand with the Black people and then say, take it back. Like, that's so strange, right? So I just feel like, shame on Target. Like, you guys really need to step it up before you crumble because, before all of this, like Target was kind of the mecca of a, shopping experience for me and my sister. Like, we loved Target, okay? Like, it's just the bougie type of grocery store, store that you just love being in. It's always clean. The employees were always friendly from the jump. That was never an issue. It just feels like way more of a luxury shopping experience compared to like Kroger or Walmart. So now it just sucks that like we can't even support Target no more. Like what's the tea? Another thing that I've been seeing like on my timeline that I feel like was kind of concerning when I was watching TikTok was CBS. Like CBS posted that they're gonna no longer be working in the Pentagon. And I'm like, okay, like basically in the video that I saw, they were saying that like for the first time in decades, CBS News is no longer reporting from inside of the Pentagon. And they said that their reporters alongside dozens of networks, newspapers, and services emptied out their booths and workspaces like a while ago because the journalists that worked there, wanted to exit rather than agree to a 21-page list of new restrictions, which would prevent them from soliciting information that has not been pre-approved by the government. So the Department of War, which is like, why is it named that? I don't know. As the current administration calls it. They have a $1 trillion budget and it employs 3 million military and civilian employees. And CBS will continue to report from outside of the building instead, right? But journalists will no longer have the day-to-day face-to-face contact with the military that helps the public understand what the U.S. troops are facing. And it says that Secretary Hegseth once promised the most transparent administration ever. But as one former defense official told us, the American people are going to know a lot less about what's going on with the Department of War. So, right, once again, I feel like the Trump administration is just trying to I don't know, strip away everything always. He doesn't want to support, public knowledge. He doesn't want to support intellect. He doesn't want anyone to have any knowledge of anything ever. He wants American society to just be a shell of a human and all of us to just be uninformed, dumb, and clueless. And I just feel like that's really, really strange and really problematic. What do you mean they're no longer going to be able to work inside the Pentagon so we can know what's going on? Why does it need to be a secret? This is supposed to be the Department of War that's supposed to represent and protect America, but then they don't want American citizens to know what they're doing in there? Huh? So I'm right. And then another thing that I saw that's been going on with social media is all of this drama that's been surrounding GameStop. I just thought that this was really interesting and strange. So I saw a TikTok from a male GameStop employee, which was going viral, and it's just one of the wildest retail stories that I've ever seen. So basically, GameStop recently announced that they have a Trade Anything event. But the problem is they announced it to the public before they even told their own employees, which is really strange. As somebody who also used to work in the fast food industry, we would at least, typically the standard is to let the employees know what's going on with new commercials that they're, playing on TV, new deals that are rolling out. So that way we know what's going on when we get calls or customers come in and ask us what's going on. Why would you not tell the employees what's happening? So as soon as customers heard the words, quote unquote, Trade Anything, people started calling stores asking if they could just bring in weapons, bodily fluids, taxidermy, and all kinds of inappropriate items. Some even asked, can they film employees' reactions for TikTok so that way they can go viral? So, of course, this was a really big issue and made, a lot of employees uncomfortable. And they were just this is insanity. What kind of, special is this that you guys got going on? And on top of that, we are going through the gags with all these people calling us and being weird. So, naturally, the managers brought this up in their weekly conference call. And corporate's response was basically that if you feel unsafe, call 911. And maybe you should consider wearing masks and gloves so you can protect yourself from biohazards. And that way you can conceal your identity if people come into the store and film you. That was corporate's resolution to the managers when they complained about this. So again, this is a video game retail job. This is not a hazardous material situation. So why would you tell your employees to do that? I don't really know. Right? And basically, as I was watching the TikTok, the employee that was talking about it, he said that this was his breaking point, with working at GameStop. And he ended up putting his 2 weeks in because of this specific situation. He also pointed out that the event kind of looks like it's a tax write-off tactic because anything that isn't game related will be quote unquote donated, which likely benefits the company financially. And the timing of it all is just kind of sketchy because this happened days after Funko Pop announced that they're in serious financial trouble. And basically Funko Pop is one of GameStop's most popular product lines. So the employee just basically said that GameStop is the worst company that he's ever worked for, and the horror stories online basically speak for themselves. So I'm just wow, shout out to all my GameStop employees that have to be, in the mud and going through the gags, dealing with this. I just cannot believe that the, corporate at GameStop is willingly putting their employees through this. It's very strange. It's very weird. And I just wish that they would, cut it out. It's just always something going on with GameStop. And it's real ones know that if you're into gaming, I don't even go to GameStop. I have a store that's local to me called Disc Replay, and they have like way more game options that are like affordable. They have like old games, new games, different consoles that are on sale for like discounted prices, and they fix your items. And when you trade in, they don't give you like, $2 for your console compared to GameStop. So I've been like not a supporter of GameStop as a company. There's literally no reason why I ever haven't needed to go in there for anything ever. Like, it's literally just a waste of time if you're a gamer. So that's insanity. Like, you guys need to do better. This story is extremely disturbing. Like, huh? All right, and now it's time for favorite thing of the week. Favorite thing of the week. Favorite thing of the week. So my favorite thing this week has definitely, hands down, I don't know if I already talked about this, but even if I did, it's just back into rotation this week, and it's the new EP by Queen Naija. If you guys don't know, she is a singer songwriter. She started off as a YouTuber, and now she is just making big moves in the music industry, and I love her down. I've actually seen her on tour with Mary J. Blige when she opened up for her, and she's absolutely incredible, and I'm just hoping that I'm able to go to one of her shows again in the future. But we love Queen. Her music is just like everything to me, and she dropped a new EP called 30, and I really have been enjoying this project. I feel like she, especially with the interviews that she's been doing, she talks about how like much she really enjoyed the music making process this time, and it didn't feel like, work or like labor or like something that she just had to do. She was making music to just have fun, and I feel like you can really hear that through this project. And of course, when it comes to Queen, she offers so many different like sounds that I feel like, once again, she has versatility in the way that she can pretty much do anything. She can get on a song with a rapper, she can get on a song with another singer, she could even do drill, she can do trap, she can do R&B, she could do country, shoot, even if she wanted to. She's so versatile, and I feel like people really sleep on her because they feel how they feel about her, from being, a YouTuber. But as an artist, I feel like it's really time for us to take her seriously, because she is really cementing like her claim in the game. And there's so many songs on here that I love, like Hopeful Romantic, that's featuring Cash Cobain. You guys know I love Cash Cobain. And it just talks about how like she, just can't help that she, loves love. And we just know that she's a lover girl. So we stand, messages like that. There's nothing wrong with like loving love and like being romantic and, being hopeful for finding your true love. She has also another song that I really love called I Deserve, where she talks about like, I deserve it all, like I'm 30 now, like it's time to put some respect on my name, put myself up to a higher standard, and realize that like I'm not wrong for, wanting the best of the best, and I deserve to be treated, as such. So we stand that. She's also got a song called My Man with Mariah the Scientist that I really like. She's once again a lover girl moment where she's like, I love my man. I'm like, okay, period. And then, of course, she got some, sexy songs on there. But then, there's also the title track called 30, where she talks about how, she turned 30 and there's so many different things that she wanted to accomplish and do. But, time is going by so fast. And I'm like, girl, I feel you, because I'm turning 30 in a couple of months, and it gets scary. And then it hits you where it's like, okay, life is lifing. There's so many different things that I want to do and accomplish. And it really kind of like kicks you into gear, being like, okay, what do I want my future to look like in this next decade? And what are things that I can do to like set myself up for success in that way? So I really feel like, the entire project is like personal, but at the same time, like, romantic also, right? Like she talks about just so many real things, and I just love the fact that she's so transparent with like who she is, even on her like YouTube channel and her music, and it just reflects like in her pen game, like she really is such a good songwriter. So if you guys have not listened to Queen Naija's project called 30, you definitely should check it out. But yeah, like guys, that's pretty much all I got right now. Like I said, I've just been focusing on, making sure that my mom is Gucci. But in the meantime, still trying to prioritize, a self-care moment, playing the video games, the whole nine. So like I said at the beginning, if you want to watch me play, be sure to follow me on TikTok at A Little Bit A Lot Podcast, and then Gaming with Kristen. So that way you can see, my gaming clips and stuff. And of course, I still have my coloring account as well on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. at Coloring with Kristen. So be sure to follow all of that. I'm like, guys, it's kind of getting crazy. Like, I have so many different platforms for different things, and I feel like it's like I was worried that it was starting to get too much, but at the same time, it's like, F it. Like, I'm a multifaceted queen. I have different interests, so we're gonna have different accounts for different things. So it's like, if you like it, you love it, and I feel like it's better that way because there's certain people who like want to watch my coloring content but don't care about gaming, and there's people that are, gaming that don't care about coloring content. There's people that want my podcast stuff but may not want gaming or coloring, like, you know what I mean? So I feel like we have the gaming, we have the coloring, and then we have the podcast, so that way you can get three different type of niches from me based on your personal interests. So we have a variety of things to offer. So if you like one or you just like the other, that's what they're there for. So everything will be, linked in the description on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the good stuff. And like I said at the beginning, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, comment down below to let me know what you thought about today's topics, and turn those post notifications on, and be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, okay? And if you're listening on Spotify and Apple, like I said, rate that 5 stars, leave a review. And with that, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Forward cause I make rich look richer. Save your breath, baby, I'm not going home with ya.